Yeah, that's what we're doing. Aubrey's gonna take the picture.
Are you going to
Wanted to go to pictures for the tea lights.
Right.
I'm just waiting for the man.
That would be.
Oh.
Yeah, they let me down, say, that was, and you spend time to these things, last meeting.
Larry, got to give a dissertation on something, that'll...
I can, but subject would like to hear about it.
How are you?
He's fluent in all of them, right?
Didn't have anything better to do.
Not all of them, but a few.
Me, but.
Whenever you're ready.
Sometimes it's more
I'm assuming everybody's ready. Now call to order the Platteville Board of Trustees meeting for August 1st, 2017. We have please observe a moment of silence to honor the people who stand guard inside and outside our borders to protect and serve. Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mayor Steve Nelson.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Hope Morris. Here. Trustees Larry Clark.
Here.
Adrian Sandoval. Here. Ken Nelson.
Here.
Michael Cowper. Troy Blum.
Here. Okay, approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Audience participation. Do we have anybody wanting to address the board tonight? Okay. Moving on. Approval of the consent agenda. It is simply joint meeting minutes for July 18, 2017.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Action item. We are going to now recess the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees at
7:01.
7:01. I couldn't trust the clock, so we had to go to the rating authority on time. And call to order the meeting of the Platteville Liquor License Authority. Mr. Manager.
Mr. Mayor, members of the board, I just want to defer to Mary as town clerk, she puts together these liquor applications.
Before you this evening is a special event license for Harvest Days. The licensed premises area basically is unchanged from previous years. During the day, it'll include volleyball and the horseshoe area, and in the evening, just the venue where the band and food will be served. This application is from the town of Platteville, so if you have any reason to question their integrity, speak now. Otherwise, I would recommend approval.
My date of birth is incorrect.
Oh, what is it? I'll ask you in private. Okay, I'll fix that.
Thank you.
Can I say mine?
Born in 99.
And you're complaining? Right?
Does anybody from the audience have a comment on the liquor license?
Yay.
You get a free coupon for showing up? I'm hoping so, I'll be first in line. Okay. Does anybody on the board have any questions on this issue? Okay, then I guess we will close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the special event liquor license application as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Mary can imbibe as she chooses, legally now. Okay, and I will now adjourn the meeting of the Platteville Liquor License Authority at 7:04. Is that close enough?
Close enough.
Thank you very much. Okay, next. Do I have to reopen? Yeah, I'll now reopen the Board of Trustees. Keep me squared away, Devin. Okay, next we have the B&C refuse contract update. Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In your packet is a letter that was produced by B&C from Waste Management regarding recent increases for landfill charges, basically. Tonight we have with us Brad and Carolyn DeRue of B&C Refuse. You guys want to step forward and approach the board? Just Brad.
Just
Okay, come on,
Brad.
Brad.
We just barely got here in time, too. I told her we should have taken a shower. Good evening, everybody. It's been a year ago, March, we last came to visit. That's why we're getting old, huh? Went quick. And you had invited us back for last August because we knew we were going to get an increase in August, and we chose not to do that. So that was the 3%, which I think the letter explained. Then he called us about a month ago, invited us to go down to eat lunch. So we don't do that. Me and my truck on the work, and they said, "No thanks. What are you going to do to us this time?" And this was a new 3-year contract. So we knew to get it harder, and this time it was 5%. So in the last year and a half, it was 8%. So the letter pretty much explains that. It's a pass-through thing. If you folks can approve it, we give it to them. So you could just write a check to them if you like. But that's where our request would be to, we can't absorb those kinds of increases continuously because we absorb all the other things in the landfill is the one that's never going to end. And so we signed our new 3-year contract, and it will be going up again a year from today. Today's the first day of that new one.
So the 5% increase starts
Today.
today.
Yeah, August the 1st.
Being a 3-year contract, if I may, Mr. Mayor, is the 5% a lock-in for the next 3 years, or is it each year separate?
Each year will increase. We have no idea how much. It used to be, that they would do the 3-year, and at least you project what you're doing.
That's what,
for the
that's,
next 3
if
years.
it was a fixed lock.
They changed that in the last 3-year one. You have to sign the 3-year one, and then annually it will increase according to whatever it is.
Okay.
Today we got a call from a customer that's changing over to us from them. They're even charging for a dumpster now if it goes over a limit of weight, but you can't figure out what you're going to put in the dumpster. And he was really upset about that. So that's our latest thing, is to raise. In other words, if a person pays so much per month on a dumpster, now the weight, but I don't know how they can measure the weight. I know they have scales on the side of the truck for residential, and they do charge people for additional weight. Now it's the same thing on the dumpsters too, I think. No one's exempt from getting their rat.
So the rate increase, going to increase how much per household?
Oh,
That figured
I'm
out.
glad you mentioned that. I couldn't, what we just figured was rounded off at $1 if that was possible. 10%, we're at $18.95 now, so we were going to request $1 to go to $19.95. 2%, if you want to do the math, we did not do that from the 8 to the 10. So I'm assuming it'd be right around 8.80 right in there. So that would be a request, to be $1.
Would it be pretty safe to say that probably $1 a year is a reasonable projection?
Depends on their mood. One time they hit us for 23%. That was about 8 years ago, and that's when they raised us 23% at the Buffalo landfill they have, which is by Kersey. It was a little more, in the low 30s, wasn't it? The low 30% in 1 year, and that was at the Alt landfill, which we are using the Alt facility 100% because the other one is so in such bad condition. They do not maintain them very well, and we're running into the same situation now at Alt. They do not choose to spend money on maintenance, road graders, things like that. So when you go in there, I don't know if any of you have taken a personal How recent was that?
About a year ago.
A year ago? Try it now. It's been a progressive decline in the condition. In March and April, when we had the rains, the trucks were getting stuck right in the middle of those little cow path roads. It was horrible, and it just tears the heck out of our equipment. But what are you gonna do? It's the only game in town.
I don't have anything for the board.
Well, I just want to thank you again. You guys do excellent work.
Yeah, you do.
People put all kinds of stuff out there, and you guys take it all. Appreciate what you do for our town.
Yeah, thank you. We're having trouble with labor, which everybody is. We can't seem to get anybody to come to work. We went through 9 growers in 11 months.
Wow.
So, our sons, they're on the back. So that's why I hope that the service is pretty good, because we have one guy's been with us 7 years, and one of my other sons will be on the back, and when they rotate to the driving position when the truck's full. It's peaceful that way, but you put in a lot of hours.
Yeah.
Right.
So we chose to do, because we just have such a hard time getting people to do this kind of work. But we don't feel bad, because we service so many different kinds of businesses, and they have the same response to us. They can't find help. So,
It's very common.
yeah. Thank you for the comment.
Brad, I was curious, how many communities do you serve now?
3, as far as municipal contracts, Platteville, Crestwell, and South.
Okay.
That's what we started out at 2 years ago. That's what we wanted to do, if we could get all 3 to get a nucleus, and then work our commercial routes around the 3 municipal contracts. We found that a lot of companies that have gone by the wayside try to service everywhere, anything and everything. In the trash business, you have a nucleus and then build out from that. You don't get paid by the mile. So the more dense your customers are, the better off you are. So that was our goal, is to get this 3-town community. Fortunately, we've retained that. And we don't have any desire to go anywhere else.
Well, I will say, a couple months ago, I was talking to a fellow town manager, similar size to Platteville South, and they had quite a bit of a community input regarding their trash service, whoever it may be, I don't know who it was, but their rate was a little bit less than ours, but it was 2 restricted containers per week.
Just 2?
2. And it was only a couple dollars off from what, we have, so I thought we were pretty fortunate.
That was to the south?
That was to the south, this small town. But,
Yeah, we'll go for 2. Open to that, no problem.
But that's what they're talking about, restrictions, like you said, waste management. They were doing restrictions on size, and if they lived in a shed, then they'd be good.
Wow.
So,
Yeah, in Brookfield, places like that, they've gone to a central place where 4 or 6 houses have to put it in one spot, in bags only. And all kinds of different restrictions like that. And hopefully we've found our little niche that keeps everybody happy, that we try to take everything there is. We have a lot of people that take advantage of it, so we've been taking the liberty to speak with them individually more so they understand. Easy, 10 bags, 12 bags, 5 cans, branches thrown all over, and we have to talk to those folks.
if I may,
Please.
what is your start time at Platteville typically, when you start operations and pick up?
When she gets out of bed.
I was reading an article, I saw it on TV about a waste management company starting like as early as 5, and it was against their contract. I can't remember what we had, but about caught me off guard yesterday morning, because at 7:30 I heard you, and I wasn't ready yet.
Oh.
So I was just curious, if people ask,
Okay.
can we tell them the start time may be
6:45?
I think we used to tell everybody have that by 7, just in case,
by 7?
because what we did yesterday is we do like a commercial route for 2 hours.
Yes.
Well, every other week, when the trucks are like there, we start right in on you guys.
Okay.
And because of the heat too, once it gets cooler, we won't start so early. At dark.
We hit the shop where you go to get the trucks going and get here, but by the time we get to a resident, 7, if you quarter to 7 or 7 is probably pretty safe. And I was just in the paper actually, really, that they were having that issue. I don't know if you.
Yeah, that's what it was, is the tribute.
In the Tribune?
Yep.
Yeah, they have that issue, so. It really makes it tough on those guys. For us, it makes it worse, because we're the furthest one from the landfill. If you figure folks that service Windsor and Greeley and Eaton, all Pierce, Jersey, all of them, they don't have that far of a drive. And here we're looking at 35 miles one way. So we start as early as we can, because you has to get into the landfill. They close at 4 o'clock, except for themselves. They exempt themselves, and their trucks come in later. So we did fight about that, and if we call, and they say that they have room for us, is how they put it, then we can come after before 4:30. But otherwise, their trucks are in there till 6:30, the waste management only. It's amazing.
How many trips do you make a day to the landfill?
Depends on the time of year, depends on the rain, the humidity, all those types of factors. So right now, it's more because it's dry. We've been, I hate humidity, working in it, but it helps us because the trash actually it's more of a density per square yard. So it totally depends on the time of year. In the wintertime, fortunately, it's less because there's no grass. The grass is really dense.
So you're asking for $1?
Yes.
I remember my mayor, when I got on the board in UK, I think we ought to give him $1.50 because people are putting a lot of trash out. I see it. I think it's no more than fair. Board, have any opinions?
I agree. They do pile it up outside of their houses.
That's been a lot of.
That would take care of the issue for this year, right?
Yes, and then come next August, a year from today, we have no idea.
We have to do what we have to do. I would entertain the motion on this subject, if everybody's in agreement.
I'll make a motion to approve $1.50 for residents. Not exceeding no more than $1.50.
How's their contract written?
I would, if you may add to your motion that we have the town attorney amend the existing contract with B&C to reflect $1.50 per resident increase and bring back to the board on the 15th of August for ratification.
Okay, so because the contract has to be changed, okay. right.
Last time we did the change, the town attorney amended it to reflect this decision, so we have a contract. And then that's just ratified by the board next meeting.
Okay.
And the rate needed. The rate would go into effect in September.
Okay, so no motion.
I guess we just amended it. Okay.
It would go into effect in September,
In September. I'd still like to motion a second.
but their costs are effective today.
I know.
Is there a way to make it retroactive to today?
We've already sent out the bill today for the month of August. That's the only thing.
So the extra 50 cents for the 11 months will more than make up the difference for August.
Well, next year, it'll be September as well. So it is an ongoing increase request.
Understood.
Okay. Could I have a roll call on this, please?
Trustees Larry Clark,
Aye.
Adrian Sandoval. Aye. Kim Nelson.
Aye.
Hope Morris.
Yes.
Troy Blum.
Aye. To clarify, who's the second on that?
Oh,
Okay.
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 Thank you, Brad. Thank you, Carolyn.
Motion
you.
carried.
So that'll
Thank
go,
you so much.
Thank you for the
So that'll-
appreciate it.
that'll go on the September bill.
Okay,
The increase will.
sounds good.
Okay.
I won't see it, she will. so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have the 2017 sidewalk repair discussion. Mr. Rankin.
Excuse me, in my report, I outlined that we budgeted for $65,000 potentially in repairs this year, replacement. And I talked about the budget as a whole, it's $47,000 currently. We average a little over $5,500 a month on revenues from our sidewalk maintenance fees. So the year we'll have over almost $75,000. So I'm not too worried about meeting budget this year. But if you go back to the previous conversation on the study session, I was talking to David, and he brought up, he said I need to start getting bids out now to get them done this fall. And we do have some places, the two cul-de-sacs over the we did finish up last year, Shirley Court and Catherine Court. And there's other places in the older part of town we're going to identify like we did before. But one thing that crossed my mind is that Grand Avenue sidewalk that Mr. Bethers mentioned. You know, the construction aspect is around $110,000, what that engineering estimate was, but if you're throwing in survey and design, it's closer to $150,000. One idea I had was to spend, say, $20,000 or $25,000 this in repairs, still do some, it'll still go quite a ways. And roll over, because it's special revenue fund, it won't go anywhere, it'll just stay in the fund, and build up next year for a bigger project. Because I've been asked about once a month about, there's more walkers, especially now, of course it'll taper off in winter time, but they really use that corner, and it's a very dangerous corner. You know, we did improve the road, obviously, but still, it's always been a dangerous corner. And that improvement will involve taking that fence down, building a retaining wall, putting the sidewalk in, and then redoing the fence. So there's going to be some work to do on that corner. But I don't want to go into 2018 with a lack of funding to do that project. So that's my idea, is that we do some this year, that we do 25 and roll over 50 in the next year with another 70 next year. I think we've come close to getting most of that done. At least that's an idea I have. I want to approach the board otherwise they need to start bidding out sidewalk repairs right now, so we get into September.
We don't have anything right now that's a pressing hazard, do we?
I don't know if we mean by pressing, maybe anything that has a quarter-inch lip has to be addressed by the town, because our Sursa carrier does what's
It used to be that much.
It doesn't, quarter to half-inch lip. Some of them we can grind down, which we've done, but others, I mean, we fixed a lot, especially in the re-subdivision where all the settling occurred where the sewer lines went in. We did some full block replacements in part of the old town. We need to do some more of those, obviously. There's some sidewalks that need to be built along bigger projects, i.e. when we do rentals. The sidewalk needs to be built all along Reynolds Avenue. There's a little partial sidewalk completed in Bella Vista. It stops halfway up with Bella Vista Drive and coming north. Sorry. I know. You rewatched the meetings. I forgot about that.
Oh, do you get the
I want to make sure that the quality is good.
Sure, absolutely.
The manager's a little harder to hear.
Because I have that exciting high-pitched voice, you can tell, right?
It's very soothing.
But we could easily spend all $65,000 budget on various repairs. And I usually go out and David and we try to address the worst first, regardless of where they are. We're starting to have some repairs show up over in Old Homestead, Stevens Circle, nothing major. We're looking at Rogers Farm.
I saw one or two in
But most,
Old Homestead too.
still a few more in Reed, obviously, that we haven't touched yet. But all the older part of town, because there's still blocks without any sidewalks whatsoever.
How about TAPS funding? Is there any matching money to be had?
I haven't seen any calls for projects from CDOT for the TAPS project. Today, the Safe Routes to School did announce a grant project for 2018. Those are much tougher to get, because I have to compete with Denver Metro. And I did one years ago, and we didn't make the cut.
Wasn't the one on River, wasn't that what that was?
Yeah, subdivision.
That was a combination. I mean, they rolled everything into one, so the bidding was a little differently. This is a truly Safe Routes to School funding project. CDOT participates with Safe Routes to School, and they also do some separate grant opportunities, which is TAPS. The one on River was a traffic enhancement, TE program, and then the most recent one on Goodrich Division was called CAPS, Traffic Alternative Program. I know, it's acronyms for everything, CDOT.
I was just thinking there on Grand, that is a pretty critical, in my opinion, safe route to school objective. It would seem like maybe that we would have a shot. And is that normally a wintertime application? We apply in the wintertime and they're...
November 1st is the application deadline on the Safe Routes to School. And I'm thinking CDOT will have another TAPS one come out this fall, but nothing's been announced yet.
Right.
but it also, those funds come from federal money. A lot of Safe Routes to School funding comes from the state. So federal money is more unpredictable. So,
Now, just to add something to the whole situation, right at the night out barbecue that we just had, talking to some of the mothers of elementary age children, and the school district isn't able to find school bus drivers, and so they're combining routes, and little children are having to walk 2 or 3 blocks to a new stop without sidewalk. So the mothers are quite concerned.
I heard that come out last week. And there's different areas, Steve. I mean, I think I could justify the sidewalks along River, Goodrich, and Division were both Safe Routes to School or sidewalk projects to school to connect the older part of town and eventually get to Old Homestead on Response. That I think can be justified. I also think if we ever finish this division from Goodrich all the way to Reynolds, that could also be justified, but that's going to be a much bigger project. That involves a lot more retention and landscaping along that stretch. Well, and so does the Old Homestead retention pond.
Do we have enough projects to use up the money that we have in the sidewalk fund?
I mean, literally, we can go through, and Dave and I do this annually, we can start off, pick up where we left off, and replace whole blocks of sidewalk that are needing just to be repaired, replaced, because they're so cracked up. And then there's other blocks that simply don't have them, and that money be spent pretty quick. We can start there around Marion or Elizabeth and Main Street and just work our way down the street, literally. And then we have to move into the, Fort River and those sections of blocks where there's 3 houses, a sidewalk, or 2 houses, and there's no more sidewalk. I mean, that's how Platteville's been for the years, so. But nothing will go to waste in my opinion, but I think with such limited funds, roughly $70,000 a year, we need to do some repairs, but also go after some grants, but grants aren't guaranteed.
The more we have to match, the better our chance of getting a grant.
The nice thing about Safe Routes or TAPS is it's about 80% match. And unlike DOLA matches, where the more match, the higher you get ranked, and these you really don't get ranked any differently if you throw in a higher match. It's pretty well set. There's different factors that raise you up. One thing for Safe Routes to School, because they also promote, part of the grant program is you also have to put in an educational program. So what I did last year, we did a survey in the schools, or the last time I applied for one. And the teachers are already doing the walk to school in the morning program. So I'd see if they would tie that into this Safe Routes to School program. Because you have to show partnerships with your schools in your local area, businesses, and civic organizations. So there's a bigger component as far as that's concerned on this one. The CDOT one, you don't have to do all that. It's different. You have to do environmental checklist and archaeological checklist and all those kind of things. So.
Dig up a dog bone, we're in trouble, we have to stop.
Mr. Manager, could you clarify something for me? You mentioned in new sidewalk construction, that the town picks up the added expense of re-landscaping or modifying landscaping as necessary to, is that correct?
That's what we build into it. We remove trees if they need to be removed. And then if we tear up landscaping, like on Goodrich last year,
Okay.
we had to tear out some sprinkler heads, we replaced them. That's part of the bid that we bid into the project.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wasn't clear on about that. Thank you.
Yeah, because we don't want to leave residents high and dry. If they have a nice landscape and we tear it up, we have to modify and adjust a fence, move irrigation, sprinkler heads, whatever the case may be. Yeah, that's part of what we do.
I was just thinking on this, what, and then this is just thrown out there for the board to think about, what if we used the sidewalk fund money for repairs this year? Think about doing a TAPS, asking for TAPS money, but let's earmark the extra money, that if we don't get a TAPS grant, we still could do that, project around the corner at Grant for 2018.
Are you talking about using all 70,000, or are you talking about using 20? Like,
Well, do whatever we have to do for this year to stay on focus, stay on plan of fixing sidewalks every year. But during budget, you know, we'll have the sidewalk fund just keeps on growing monthly. But what about if we earmark an extra amount of money, enough that along with the sidewalk fund next year would cover that 165?
So you're looking at adding money from another fund?
Well, I think
the
just
general fund?
make a little earmark, make a little fund to add to the sidewalk fund so we can cover that project in 2018.
That's what we did before with the River Street project, because we did not have a sidewalk maintenance fund at that time.
Correct, we did not. And I was just thinking that would enhance the sidewalk fund to the point where we could do that project next year, just do one project with the sidewalk.
Even if we didn't get this grant?
Even if we didn't get the grant, we would have an earmark that we could dip into and do it irrespective. If we can get grant money, would be terrific. I mean, that would be the best of all worlds. But if we can't, we still would be able to do that project.
I think it's the highest priority sidewalk at this time. It's very dangerous on that road, and we've got a lot of people out there that can't connect to our town.
There's a lot of kids in those two subdivisions.
And there's no other access. That's
There's
it.
no other access.
I mean, you can go down 32 and a half to Division, but that's a long way around.
And once they can get to River, they have access to the town. So whichever way you want to go, as long as we get that sidewalk built, I think it's a number one priority.
Which side of the street are you talking about when we got a grant to the turn?
It's on the retention pond side.
South side.
Southwest side. Okay.
So where we ended at the river and Grand, the sidewalk dead ends to that tree would be relocated, where the sidewalk would be removed. And my idea was to use those two frontage roads on Valley Village as a pedestrian access. Because Grand Avenue, the right-of-way, is really right at that asphalt line. We don't have much right-of-way to work with to put in the sidewalk unless we acquire more right-of-way, which I don't think we should. But there's a private residence or one or two that about halfway down Valley Village that we'd have to connect through. And then from that last, I call it frontage road, the last frontage road to the west, there's another residence. We go through that property and then to the retention pond. So the majority of the work is right there at that curve.
Now, have you talked to the trailer park? Are they fine with your plan, using the access that they have in front of their place?
I haven't really discussed with them. Years ago, I talked to the former property manager, and she didn't have problems with all the new ones.
Before we go forward, assuming we can do this, we should really talk to them again.
I wasn't too concerned because that's what people do now. A lot of people in the morning when I go out early, they're walking right through there. Because they don't build sidewalks either in Valley Village.
Right.
I mean, I will, because when we did River, I brought the property manager into the meetings with CDOT on that project.
Well, since it's a formal plan now.
Sure.
I think we should be addressing that.
Okay. So as far as this year, what is the board wanting David and I to look at expanding for sidewalk repairs? And we don't have anything specifically pinpointed except finishing up those two areas over in Reed. And then after that, we'll go back to the old thing.
I was gonna say Marion, by the library, that's heavily swamped because of the library and museum. I would guess that would be a big priority.
So we fixed Marion from Division back to Maine,
Right.
but yeah, there's plenty there.
Sure.
So the library liability to the town is pretty much corrected at this point with the cracked sidewalks, grades.
We've improved quite a bit, but we haven't got all of them though. There's still plenty of areas. There's some blocks from Main Street to Vasquez that are in pretty pretty bad shape. We try to focus on where we see the most pedestrian traffic
Right.
first. Division and Main Street. Grand has nothing. So I'm not ready to tackle that yet. The curb is a top priority for safety there, Ridge Circle. But I'll talk to the board this fall, from Town Hall down to River, I want to build a sidewalk on there with some landscaping, make it look nice on the north side of Grand Avenue. But that's another conversation we'll have.
What do you guys think? Even if we did decide to do Grand around the corner, I don't think we have, I don't think that'll be on the plate for this year. I don't think we can put it together fast enough. So almost irrespective of what we do, it's gonna be a 2018 project.
Right.
So is everybody?
Now, do we spend all of it, or do we earmark all of it?
Well, here's what I was thinking, and I probably wasn't clear enough. When we go into budget, we'll have, by summer next year, in the sidewalk fund, we will probably have we'll probably be at what, 50?
By the end of the year, we'll have built up another 65 to 70,000.
But in the summer, we'll probably be around 50.
And we do
Because that's when we would be doing the project.
Usually when we do sidewalk projects, we're basically in the red until the end of the year when
Right.
it's built back into the black, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So now, going into budget this year, I'm sure everybody's aware, because you've got your sales tax reassessment, property tax. So you're all aware that we probably are going to be getting some more money this year. So if we earmark $100,000 specifically for that project, and we can get TAPS money, so we don't use it, we can divert it any other place we want to. But it would be, if we do it in budget, it would be there to finish that project irrespective of what grant money we do or do not get.
So we're gonna spend up all the, will be 65,000 on sidewalks this year to repair? Instead of moving some of it over to next year?
I don't know what they would spend, I don't know what projects.
Well, it would be up
they
to
would specifically,
65,000,
yeah.
I would assume, like we've done in the past.
My recommendation, we budget 65,000 this year, I've asked the board for no more than 30,
Okay.
so I can
So you can roll over 30.
So I can reserve and roll over another 40 to 45, maybe 50,000 into 2018, and then what 2018 brings in,
Right.
I'd be comfortable with that. I want to make that a priority in the spring.
Yeah, right, I agree, the spring. I would rather do that and roll the money over than earmark, all of it out of the budget. I would rather roll some.
Because if we just put it in a fund and put a name on it, it's there if we need it, and if we don't, we'll just move it into something else. So irrespective, I'm fine either way, I don't have a problem either. And as long as we know that is a project we are going to do in 2018, and we can plan on it and get an early start, I think that's good. But I do want to, it is good with the sidewalk fund, means we have, that's in the utility bill, we do need to show that we do something every year for people's will.
Correct, I believe it's a mixture of building new and then replacing existing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm asking the board to spend up to $30,000 in this year's budget. The board already authorized 65.
And do you have an idea of where you're wanting to spend that right now?
We started those two cul-de-sacs in Reed where we need to finish it, we just ran out of money.
Okay.
And then we'll go back over by Marion, over by the library.
Okay, sounds good.
I'm good with that.
Okay.
Up to 30, and then roll 30 up to 35, 40.
The rest we'll just leave in the fund, and we'll talk about the budget.
Great.
Okay.
Is that consensus, or do we need a motion?
I'd like a motion, please.
Okay. I will entertain a motion.
Did you want to say something, Larry?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I'm going to approve
That's it, 30.
up to 30,000 in sidewalk repairs.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Larry Clark,
Aye.
Adrian Sandoval.
Aye.
Kim Nelson,
Aye.
Hope Morris,
Yes.
Troy Bloom.
Aye. Okay, motion carried.
Thank you, everyone.
This, probably, we're discussing this, is probably gonna be accomplished, probably what, late September, early October this year?
We try to get it all done by mid-October. And David, the reason why David brought it up is, the one that got the contractor that got the bid last year is asking what we're going to do, so we're anxious to bid on any projects that we have, which is good to hear. That usually reduces our cost or gives us a good price, if they're hungry to bid on a project. But something else I want to keep in mind with the board is these repair projects, if we keep them at a certain monetary threshold of $50,000 or less, that doesn't require bonding, a lot more smaller contractors that do high-quality work can build a project.
Yeah.
So I just want to throw that out there.
Okay, next. Senior Center bid results. Do we really need to tackle that? It's getting awful late. Oh, that's what the audience is here for, okay. Mr. Rankin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And yes, Christie did want to be here tonight. This past week, we did do the bid openings. Mr. Trev was here, Bob Trev, our architect. Four proposals were requested. The fourth one from Roche Construction, they withdrew for whatever reason. So in your packet, you have the bid results and bid bonds from Growling Bear, Landmark, and TCC. TCC's out of Windsor. Growling Bear and Landmark are primarily out of Greeley. The numbers are pretty reflective, as you can see. Actually, my report I outlined the details. Landmark was $838,782. Growling Bear was at $910,285, and TCC was a low bid of $753,381. The architect's estimate was $776,000. That includes a contingency. So there's some numbers out there, and I don't always run the best way to explain myself, but the dollar grant we received will get a little over $348,000 in refund, or not refund, but basically it's cash match. We pay for it up front, and then they refund us up to that amount. Our current match in Colorado Thrust is $376,000 and some change. You call it $610 and change. And then the $70,000 contingency. I'm going to ask the board tonight, because this is a dollar grant, we have to accept low bid. The TCC Construction, our architect Bob Trev, has worked with them before. These proposals were sent out to these four vendors, or these four contractors specifically because of the reputation, which is completely fine by DOLA. We just show competitive bid process. I asked the board to approve the bid for TCC Construction for this specific amount, and for the town attorney to negotiate a contract with TCC Construction to bring back to the board at the next meeting on August 15th, 2018. And Tracy, do you have anything to say after this, by chance? Because you came all this way. She's pretty excited about this.
I got a question on the bid. We got the bid here, then alternate.
Yes.
So with that, taking the bid, and then if we decide not to put that garage structure, it's gonna be minus the $51,000, or, but we're pushing, we wanna get that garage.
The way Bob Tripp built that in, the senior center was a priority in the fitness room. And he said, he wrote it out to where that garage on the east side of the building was an alternate project. I believe it is part of the project. We need, for years, the senior organization has wanted us to put their band inside enclosure out the elements, and we haven't been able to do that. And the senior center's there, they need their band right next door. So I think it's reasonable if we have the money to do the whole project. But when we started a couple of years ago, we didn't know if we had money to do the whole thing with the garage. That's why it's done this way.
Are we gonna be able to build that garage large enough to accommodate a larger vehicle if we would happen to come onto one?
He did, right before the final proposal, enlarge the garage door.
Like to fit, ambulance?
Bus.
kind of basically it's a small like a school bus, or those miniature school buses, or those bigger sized vans. That's what we're shooting for.
Like a 10-foot door then?
I think it's 9.5 foot door.
So we have your approval?
Absolutely.
And if we do pick one of those up, which would be very much appreciated, I want to fit in that garage.
Yeah.
Do I get to make the motion or anything on this one?
Don't use my mic.
Honorary motion. But, that's my recommendation to the board. I think we've talked about this at length for a couple of years now.
Yes, this doesn't come as any surprise. Okay, does anybody have any questions or comments on this subject? I would entertain a motion for a huge amount of money.
I'll make a motion to accept the proposal for the TCC Corporation, 561 East Garden Drive, Unit D, Winter, Colorado, in the amount of $753,381, and authorize the mayor to execute contracts of the same upon approval of legal counsel.
Second.
That was good. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Larry Clark,
All right.
Adrian Sandoval,
Aye.
Kim Nelson,
Aye.
Hope Morris,
Yes.
Troy Blum.
Aye.
Well, that motion's carried. Steve, you get a new place to play in a year. or
Thank you.
7 or 8 months. Okay. Next, we hear from our attorney, who is absent.
She only comes one meeting, and next meeting we're gonna have the public hearing and a joint session with the planning commission.
Okay.
So that'll be sent out to the board.
Okay.
I couldn't justify paying for her to come to this meeting.
No, no problem at all. I completely agree. Next, we have reports from a town manager, and I know he's here, so he has to speak.
Put some information already before for your review. Just a couple of days, code enforcement technician Travis Herger started yesterday. He was at the National Night Out tonight. He met a few people. On the 15th, he doesn't get sworn in because he's not a sworn position as an officer, he's a civilian. So I'll see at the end his wife and family can come on the 15th to formally meet the rest of the board. This month, he's going to be working in Platteville. Tomorrow, Scott Bonner comes back on. He's been in code enforcement. They're going to go together and start actually doing some hands-on warnings. We have some yards that are getting out of control again, which is no surprise. Also, I'm sending him to an ABA compliance training, which is a course in Westminster later this month, and then there's the second part of that training in September. David Brand's taking it as well. Ever since the city of Fort Morgan had an audit completed by the federal government, it's really hit the state of Colorado as far as interest, because if you don't, and we've done pretty good, every sidewalk we built, our new senior center, everything is all through ADA compliant regulations. But we need to audit our own property and our own facilities. Like the city of Fort Morgan, they have over 3,000 violations, and unless you have a plan in place to correct those, and you show you have corrected and made, and when you build for ADA compliance, they will tell you what you should do and what money you should spend, whether you have it or not. I don't want to get to that point. So anyway, that's an aspect of what he's going to be doing. The finance clerk position is open until, actually, the next Monday, August 7th. Yeah. I have turned that over to Mary. I'm going to excuse myself from the application process. Well, I'm not applying, obviously, but Mary's going to oversee that. She's the department head in the front office, so all the applications are going to her. She's going to set the interviews, and she will recommend someone to hire for me, and I'll probably disagree what she says. But Mary and David Carl, the department heads, are very good at doing what they do. So. Another connecting point, nothing new there. We'll talk about budget coming up. Harvest Days is coming up pretty quick. Our last meeting's on August 9th. Just little details. Most of it's ready to go. The golf tournament fundraiser was past Friday. I don't have any numbers for you yet because we still have some coming in. The winning team actually didn't pay yet. Mulligans, sorry, just their mulligans.
$70.
And they bought 16 mulligans, so that's why they had a low score of 53 or something like that.
Wow.
And one team, I was happy we had, my goal was 18 teams, we had 18 sign up, one didn't show, so we had 17 pay and play. I think we had 10 whole sponsors. I wanted to get all that team, we didn't get there yet, but I think next year, I spent a little more money than anticipated this year to make a good impression. So I'm still thinking we'll clear, 3,000 to 4,000 when the day's done, I hope. But, next year I want to tie it into Harvest Days a little closer to that weekend. So it's actually part of, so I was asking, it's Harvest Days, not now, it's in August, but they understood what we're trying to do. And then I spent a lot of time, actually yesterday and today, with Jim Nelson at the cemetery and the Veterans Memorial. Had what I call an emergency meeting at 12:30 today with Mike, Steve, and Jim Nelson, Steve Sandoval, and Mike Evans to talk about, because they're all involved with the different aspects, the landscaping, the electrical, and Jim told me yesterday morning that he's going to get concrete, he's going to start pouring Saturday, but he couldn't get any concrete. So I went over and talked to Sean at Ready Mix, and we had concrete coming in Saturday morning. So 26 yards for the first pour. So they're going to pour the floor of the shelter, for the floor of the shed, underneath where the shelter's going to go, and also the circle where the monument's going to go. Next Saturday, they'll pour that connecting sidewalk that comes out between those two areas. And then most, if not all, the sidewalk and curb and gutter along the road. The third Saturday is reserved if they can't get it all done, depending on some kind of glitch that may happen. But before Saturday, they have to have the rest of the conduit underground. That's why we had the special meeting today. So Mr. Evans will go up there, he's going to start trenching. It's a good time for him, he's between projects. He'll be trenching this week into next week, get all the conduit and all the irrigation pipe laid and stuffed up. So when all the pouring's done, they can go in and start putting the light fixtures in. The landscaping will be the last thing we do. Ken Cosper from All High Place Systems, I called him today, and the shelter will arrive in 2 weeks. He'll be up there on Monday, August 28th, start installing it. So by the first week of September, that majority that the board paid for will be done. Jim's been in contact with Line Sandstone. Noah is the gentleman that's been engraving the veterans' names on those monument stones. He's been coming on Saturdays to ensure we get it done on time. They're getting close to completion. So all that's going to hit at once. The shelter's going to be going up, the monument's going to be set in place, and then the final stone's going to be mortared in place on those walls, pretty much within the same week or two. What I'm wanting to do is, with the board, is talk about having a dedication ceremony sometime this fall. I'm proposing maybe early October, because I'd like to get a lot of landscaping as well, if we have time in September to do that. A lot of people are anxious to have a dedication ceremony up there.
You want to do Veterans Day, November 11th?
We talked about that, but not knowing what the weather may be.
You could do something on Veterans Day up there too, but not necessarily the dedication.
Yeah, that was our first choice, but it's hard to tell with the weather, and I don't want snow and blowing 20 below zero. But it was like last year, we had no problem.
It's just a little chilly.
But yeah, we'll definitely have some kind of ceremony every Veterans Day up there, and every Memorial Day, so.
So all the concrete that we're responsible for will be done in 2 quarters.
There's a third pour just in case, but he wants to get all done in 2 quarters. Tomorrow morning, there's going to be a crew of 7 guys up there underneath Jim Nelson, framing in most of where those pours are, and getting everything set, ready to go. But they can't go too fast, so we have some trenching that yet to do.
Timing getting a little tight.
So that's the big project, other than the senior center. So we have 2 big projects. And then also the senior center, I wanted to bring up, probably what Chris and I talked about, is we want to have a groundbreaking for a new senior center after Harvest Days. Like to do a groundbreaking, I don't know the date yet, but once we get a hold of TCC and when they're going to start, we'll coordinate with them, like to do a groundbreaking with the senior organization, probably in September after harvest days. And then we can do the dedication ceremony for the reservoir in October.
The seniors requested it be on a Monday, because they'll be there,
Yes.
most of the people are there on a Monday.
And depending on TCC, because when is their senior tea going to be?
30th of September.
Yeah, that'll probably be a little too late, so we'll probably do it the first week or two. I'm sure TCC can come out with some hard hats and some gold shovels and
Yeah.
some ribbon.
The seniors are excited about it.
Absolutely. So, but those are some simple updates of mine. I still no word back on the underground from Excel. Brad Hagan had to contact me on the water supply plan. I should hear any time on that. So there's some other projects being worked on. Otherwise, any questions you may have?
Connecting point. How did that meeting go?
It was good. Mary and I sat down with Scott Warner, Andy Warner. It's a family-run business, and then they have their engineers or technicians. But we looked at doing a kind of 2-year plan. We have. I don't really take away from me we have anything major to upgrade or replace. We're going to have a few things to talk about in the budget. We're going to have to replace some workstations, and that's just a maintenance issue every few years. We looked at our system. What was the most major thing, Mary, remember? Wasn't there a server we need to take a look at?
There's some licensing stuff.
Licensing?
Not quite right. And yeah, the server will probably be the first major expense.
And the thing with the servers is typically, years ago when we started working with the previous contractor, 5 years was typically good on a server. Now it's 3 years. It just keeps changing. So I'm not going to budget a whole lot next year like we did previous years, and that's good enough. But we're still working out some kinks. It's a different system that they run versus our previous IT vendor. A lot of it's done online or remotely, not online, remotely. And I know when talking to Chief Wire, he liked it because his officers can send out a ticket, and they're really good at working on MVPs in their systems remotely. And he said, half the time you don't know it, but sometimes the officers have to be there. So, coordinating with that is sometimes tough to do.
But I would assume it's a lot like accounting, everybody has their particular way. It all gets the job done, but there's a particular fashion that they want it done.
Well, I was pretty keen with them when we hired them. IT to me is if I've never seen you, never talked to you, everything works, you get a great job.
Right. Absolutely.
So, seriously. But yeah, it's going well.
We gonna be okay with MBTs and stuff for another year or so?
The MPTs, yes, but we're going to replace all the handheld radios and all the car radios in the next 2 years. And it's going to be close to $60,000. We'll talk about that later. But the MPTs for now are okay. But when it comes to police equipment, there's always that additional.
Is the county obsolete? Is that what happens?
Radios are like computers. Their shelf life runs out, they're always upgrading to the newest level. And when dispatch updates their equipment, we have to keep up with their updates.
So we have to get the ones here in addition to the car ones.
And we'll space it out. We'll do some this year, which will come up to the board in the next month or two. Just some money set aside for that, then we'll place some for next year. Probably the cars first, then portable smash.
Does that come out of the law enforcement?
Law enforcement for the training on special revenue, not the general.
We'll have to take a good look at that, because I don't think there's that kind of money in there, is there? Okay.
That's all I have.
I've got some, back to the law enforcement, over by the Energy Park. That company needs an Anadarko, is getting carried away again, with equipment, pallets stacked everywhere. We hold Schlumberger accountable with the nice trees and landscaping, but it's turned into a wreck over there, parking lot, equipment and stuff, to back to business again, so.
Willow Creek, Liz and I just approved a site plan last month. What the board did change when you modified like chapter 17 and 16 of the code, I now have authority to give 6 months to do a site plan. So actually, Robert, you heard last night, the contact person for Willow Creek, we contacted him today. They submitted a fence permit and electrical permit to do their fencing and their electrical for the gate and for their irrigation. And they'll be putting the fence and irrigation cleaned up pretty soon, this fall. So yeah, we've been staying on top of it.
I just noticed, recently, it's like, they're putting more stuff in there.
They're putting more storage in it. Right now it's gonna be a storage lot until, they build a building in the next few years, whatever that may be. But that one, Sunrise Chemicals, we just recently had a site plan approved, so they'll be paving their front, the old TJT property. And they need to knock those weeds down on the fence. They've been warned already last week, so they have 10 days to knock those down. I talked to Dale Boehner, he's one of the partners for Energy Park. The overall Energy Park, the lots were getting pretty tall, so that they knocked those down last couple of weeks. I'm also in discussion with the owner of Flat River Farms. Number one, the prairie dogs are crossing the Villa Vista, so they're gonna take care of that, cover if they deem so fit for themselves, and then mow it in the next month. And then on the 15th, I already talked to the town attorney. I want to have an executive session with the board to talk about some land negotiations. So that's going to come up pretty soon. So, thanks for that.
I have one comment. Mary, the garden you have put out front is gorgeous.
I've heard so many compliments on that.
Thank you so much for all your work.
Well, thanks, Charlene.
Oh, yeah?
She had the truck and the compost and the stone.
It's like a
For the next
rainforest.
time we see her.
It's growing pretty well right now. The petunias are starting to sag a little bit, but it's getting to be that time of year.
It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Anybody have any new business or any comments? No, we stand in adjournment.
8 o'clock. That's been a while since we got out 8 o'clock. Back in the day, before we married, this business meeting was 11 minutes. Remember that, Steve? Years ago, when Dan Coulter was mayor,
Yeah,
the shortest meeting was like 11 minutes.
I don't remember that.
The next time I
Just so
present,
fast.
can we try to break that record?
Yeah.
Yeah, from pretend.
I do remember
Oh,
one
yeah.
fire truck meeting I ran at last.
I know, I'm super excited.
How long?
Thank you, Fred.
Definitely.
One
You
guy,
guys did
we
wonderful.
fined a quarter for missing a meeting.
Had
We had this one guy that really
Well,
gets
I
all
told the
out.
seniors, I
Yeah.
said, what?
He walked in just as I turned the meeting, I said, you owe us a quarter. He owes him that.